G'day there guys, I'm pretty good at Lego, just saying. Back at it again with another episode of r/AmiTheA. Now if you love today's content, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a like on the video, and tell me what you think about all these stories down in the comments. Posted by user Markee, titled, Am I the a-hole for saying that my daughter's best friend has got to go to a doctor? The title sounds confusing. My daughter's best friend's parents are having some problems right now, so he has stayed with me and will be for a few weeks. We have a very good relationship. I've known him since he was 5 and he's like a son to me. Ever since he moved in 2 weeks ago, I noticed that he was looking kinda sick. I thought that he was stressed. In the last 2 weeks he has thrown up 6 times, his nose suddenly started bleeding a lot 4 times, and he's just always sleeping and doesn't have any energy at all. He's really cold all the time. I talked to him and asked if he wanted to go to the doctor, but he said he was just tired and probably ate something bad and it wasn't serious. I called his parents just to let them know, and they told me that this has been going on for 2 months, but he says it's nothing and refuses to go to a doctor, and they can't afford it anyway, so they are not paying any attention to it. I asked my daughter about it too, and she told me that he doesn't talk to her about it. Today, he threw up again and actually passed out. He's good now, but I told him that he had to go to the doctor and I'd book an appointment for him. He got kind of upset and went to the room and isn't saying anything to me right now. My daughter said that I was too harsh and I can't force him to go to the doctors. If the situation were different than this, I'd be inclined to agree with the daughter. You know, like, it's your body, you're free to do whatever. If someone's telling you to go to the doctor and you don't want to, you don't feel like you have to, they're an a-hole for doing this. But in this case, it's clear this guy is in denial, he genuinely does need the help, his parents are not supporting him, and only OP is the one that is willing to go out of their way to get him to go to a doctor. I can't really fault OP for doing that. I feel like the pressure in this case is necessary. Maybe he has to be a bit of an a-hole to crack this boy out of his denial. Sometimes you just gotta do it. But from everyone else's perspective, he's not an a-hole for doing this, because this boy genuinely needs the help. So, for that, not the a-hole. This kid sounds seriously ill. It would be negligent of you not to seek medical attention for him. It would be interesting if you posted an update, because I truly believe he is going to get diagnosed with something serious, which could get much worse without prompt medical attention. I think so too. Not wanting to go to the doctor, insisting he's fine, but having constant nosebleeds? That sounds like he's got a coke problem and knows the doctors will find out. If the kid isn't on drugs and just doesn't like the doctor or whatever else, then it's probably a tumor. Either way, he needs to go see a doctor. Edit, y'all, this is the internet. Me saying it's coke or a tumor is not a serious diagnosis, but the kid obviously has something going on and needs to see a doctor. There are a million things that it could be, and honestly I hope it's a drug problem rather than leukemia or something worse, because a drug problem is easier to fix. Fatigue, nausea, vomiting, cold, weight loss, nosebleed, teenage passing out. I'd rule out leukemia way before considering cocaine. At the very least, anemia. GP pediatrician is obviously the first stop, but I wouldn't be surprised that hematologist is next. I also had a friend in high school that got wiped out for months by mononucleosis. If he's puking so bad he passes out, he needs to go to the emergency room. Ultimatum time. Either I drive you, or I can call an ambulance. He has cancer symptoms. Nose bleeding. I don't know about cancer, but holy crap, that is scary stuff. Friend of mine who was diagnosed with leukemia had all these symptoms. Not saying the kid has cancer, but he has something bad and is a juvenile, and needs to get medical care ASAP. Update, am I the a-hole for saying that my daughter's best friend has to go to a doctor? First of all, I want to say thank you to everyone who gave me advice, and I apologize I couldn't respond or post an update earlier. We went to the doctor, and he has been diagnosed with an eating disorder. I won't go into much detail. It was really hard for everyone, but he's getting the help he needs now. He goes to physical and mental therapy, and he's slowly getting better. I'm paying for everything, and money is not the problem either. He is still staying with me. I talk to their parents regularly, and they approve of everything. They are pretty thankful. My daughter apologized for thinking I was the a-hole for getting him help. He knows we're there for him, and hopefully he'll fully recover soon. Thank you again for judgment and good wishes. Glad that the kid is getting the help he needs. Good job, OP. OP is an angel. I hope that every time you put on a pair of pants, you find a $20 bill in the pockets, and that every time any of your enemies use the toilet at a friend's house, it clogs and there's no plunger by the toilet, and they have to call for help. Caring for another human being is the opposite of being an a-hole. I hope he recovers soon. Good on you, and thanks for the update. I can understand why OP would ask though. Forcing someone you care about to do anything, whether it's to help them or not, feels wrong. Glad this was sorted out though. Posted by user Vegan Thunder. Titled, Am I the a-hole for turning my niece vegan? Hey Reddit, I've got some family drama going on and need to know if it's really all my fault. My brother-in-law and sister-in-law recently asked if my husband and I could watch their 7-year-old daughter for a few weeks. We said yes, and my niece came to stay with us. I'm out of work due to the pandemic, and my husband is an essential worker who has been working extremely long hours. So 95% of the childcare fell on me. I've been a vegan for over 10 years, and was vegetarian for several years before that. Everyone in the family knows this. I cook vegan at home. My husband will sometimes add his own meat or dairy to the vegan meals I provide, but with his new work hours, he hasn't had time to cook for himself at all. So all the meals prepared at our house have been vegan. I did some meat-based convenience foods for my niece. Stuff like chicken nuggets that could just be heated, I can't handle raw meat, and added to her plate. It pained me to do it, but I figured it would be best for everyone. After a few days of living with us and helping me prepare meals, my niece started asking questions about why I don't cook real meat. I explained that I don't eat animals. She kept asking questions about it, lots of whys, and I explained it to her like this. Do you think Dexter, our dog, has feelings? Does he get happy and scared? Would he be scared if someone tried to kill him? Would you want to eat him? Then continued, I believe that cows and pigs and chickens have feelings just like Dexter does, so I don't want to eat them either. After that conversation, my niece promptly declared she didn't want to eat meat again. So I stopped serving her the meat items I bought for her, and she just ate my food. When we made pasta one day, she asked where the cheese was, and I explained to her that they have to take the baby cows away from the mothers to get the milk, but if she really wanted cheese for her pasta, we could go get some at the store. She said no thanks, and that was that. When my sister-in-law came and picked niece up, we chatted a bit, and I mentioned that niece stopped eating meat while she was here. Sister-in-law looked a little taken aback but didn't say anything. The next day, my brother-in-law called my husband and was absolutely furious about it. Sister-in-law and brother-in-law have been screeching about me to everyone in the family, telling them it was really screwed up for me to turn my niece vegan. My husband is ticked at me because now he and his brother are fighting. He and his brother had always been pretty close, but now brother-in-law has been ignoring my husband for a few weeks. I don't think I did anything wrong. I was honest and age-appropriate. I offered the kid animal products, and she decided she didn't want them. Am I the a-hole? Yes, I've covered this one before. If you haven't seen it, I do think that OP is the a-hole in this situation, and they deserve to have the family ghost them like that if they are not going to see the logic in this situation. Like, you don't just decide that you're going to be the parent to these kids and change their ideas about the food they intake. You are not the parents, you don't get to make those decisions. I feel like what OP did was manipulative and wrong. The kid is very much easily influenced, they can't make their own decisions at this age, they lack the critical thinking skills necessary to make their own decisions currently. The way you presented this was without the parents and very much emotionally manipulative, and I feel like OP should be ashamed for what they've done. You're the a-hole. Update: am I the a-hole for turning my niece vegan? So I thought about the response I got here about my family situation. I was a bit of an ass with how I handled the situation. I should have reached out to sister-in-law and brother-in-law when niece started asking questions. I started to feel bad about how inconvenient I had made things for my in-laws, and I was really worried about how my niece was doing, especially as her birthday was coming up. So I reached out to my sister-in-law. I sent her a sincere apology email. I offered to talk to niece, help out with meal planning and cooking, or anything that she might need or want. That opened up doors, and sister-in-law started talking again. Niece is still adamant about not wanting to eat meat. While looking up stuff online about how to feed niece, sister-in-law ended up watching Forks Over Knives and went down that rabbit hole, ultimately deciding that she wants to try a WFPB diet to help control her diabetes. So a few things happened. First, sister-in-law, niece, and I did a huge meal prep day, and we filled their deep freezer with almost 100 vegan freezer meals. Lots of kid-friendly stuff for niece, and some whole grain no-oil meats for sister-in-law. I taught them some of my favorite recipes, and we tried some newbies we found online. We actually had a lot of fun, and plan on getting together to do this whenever the horde starts to get low. I catered niece's 8th birthday party, complete with homemade vegan cake, ice cream, and veggie burgers. I am babysitting niece again. Things with brother-in-law are still a work in progress though. He and my hubby are talking again, but he is still pretty upset. Especially now that sister-in-law has also ditched meat and dairy. She is the primary cook in their household, and they are still working out how to handle their lifestyle changes, I guess. I am sure things will get better soon though. So, thank you, Am I the A-hole? Things have worked out, even with me being a total donkey's butt. Edits? Geez, you people just can't stand a happy update, huh? The family issue has been mostly resolved. I've apologized, I have been apologized too. We are doing family things again. Hurt feelings are healing, and we are all good. Also, I did not push my sister-in-law to a vegan diet. She is a grown-ass woman who came across information herself, did more research herself, and made a decision for herself. I did not know she had made this decision until we went grocery shopping for our meal prep day. And to guarantee that what she is eating now, lots of fiber, plant protein, greens, and more colorful food, is worlds better for her than the white pasta with cheese sauce, huge-ass piece of dead animal, and boiled-to-death green beans that she used to eat every day, lol. I'm not signing back into this account, so go ahead and rage away. I will just keep turning my family vegan. Smiley face. Clever vegan propaganda. Agreed. Adults don't change their entire diet overnight just because they watched a single video. It's a nice thought, but it doesn't just happen, and this reads like a work of fiction. They totally do. My mum used to totally overhaul her diet regularly based on, like, Dr. Oz, or some article she read on the internet, or whatever. She never stuck with them for longer than a few weeks or months, but then, we don't know that OP's sister will stick with her big overnight change either. My mum was exactly like this. For decades, our conversations always started out with what new diet she was on for what new reason. I actually have no memory of my mother not being on some sort of new diet. Why would you make grain-based oil-free meals for someone trying to control diabetes with diets? Anything grain-based is carb-heavy, and taking out fats makes blood glucose spikes more likely. She's an insane ideologue who indoctrinates children. What do you expect? It looks like a vegan fantasy. I converted my little niece and her mother into veganism, and I cooked them 100 vegan dishes into their conveniently unused giant freezer, and everyone clapped. As someone who has actually packaged up 100 meals in a day of cooking, big family, doing once a month cooking with other mums, it is not enjoyable or fun. It's a chore from the start to finish, and even though the end result is great, nobody is happy or smiling at the end of the day. Posted by user Am I the A-hole friend 5Os, titled, Am I the A-hole for not letting my friend live in my spare room? So I have this friend Bill. and we've been friends since we were kids, and we are now both 30. He's one of my closest friends, and we normally have a great relationship. When I was 19, I moved away from our hometown, went to uni, did some traveling, and have now settled in a town several hours away. I have a good job, great friends, I'm pretty settled. 2 years ago, my great-uncle died, and left me some money. And since then, I've been saving as much as possible, and I now have enough for a house deposit, which I'm pretty thrilled about. I've started looking for places, and I'm hoping to buy a 2-bed flat in the town that I live in. Bill has not done so great. He still lives with his parents in our hometown, and has worked in the same supermarket for years. I have no issues with this, but sadly, Bill is miserable because he hates his job, hates living with his parents, and is generally unhappy. For several years, I tried to encourage Bill to move out, and I offered him to move in with me, rent-free, for a couple of months so he could get himself together. Bill always declined, and I probably stopped mentioning it about 3 to 4 years ago. So to the situation. Bill knew I had been left this money by my uncle, but a week ago, we were chatting on the phone, and I was telling him about viewing a flat soon. Bill straight up asked me if he could live in my spare room whenever I purchased my place. We haven't talked about it in so long, so I basically said I would think about it and let him know. Bill seemed pretty unhappy by this. I think he was expecting me to not hesitate, but said he hoped that I made up my mind soon. A few days ago, I called Bill back and said unfortunately, I don't think it'd be a good idea. And he was so angry, but also sad. It was horrible. The conversation was pretty long, but he basically accused me of lying to him when I offered that he could live with me, and said I was a terribly unsupportive friend, etc., etc. The thing is, I was like 24 to 26 when I offered Bill my sofa, but my life is different now. I have a girlfriend, a goddaughter who I want to sleep over lots, and now I'm a bit older, so I just don't want to share my living space. Also, I hadn't said anything to Bill about living together in years, and he had never mentioned it. I feel really bad about this situation, and when I spoke to a mutual friend, she just said it would be nicer for me to let Bill stay with me for a bit, but otherwise didn't want to get involved in the argument. I feel like such an ass. But am I the a-hole? This is unfortunately a thing that's too little too late for Mr. Bill here. Life isn't fair. He's let time pass him by without doing anything about his current financial situation. It's not on you to save him and continue to enable his bad life choices and habits. I would feel terrible for doing so, and I'd feel even worse being dragged into an hour or hours long phone conversation with him just telling me how terrible I am and how terrible his life is. That's not something I want to do. It's not nice. I don't think it's too productive if he's just trying to manipulate you to get to live with you. Life moves on, Bill. That's just the way of the world. And OP, I can't blame you for anything you've done here. Bill isn't your problem. You don't have to help him. And by not helping him, that wouldn't make you an a-hole. So, not the a-hole. Of course you are not the a-hole. People on Reddit are going to tell you he's entitled, and you should drop him, etc., etc. But my view of the truth is, it sounded like he just banked the idea that he'd always have the option of living with you if things got really bleak. They likely are, but life has also moved on, so you're not in the position to make the same offer. There is no problem in that. Friendships die and grow in these difficult situations. He probably can't see beyond his pain and frustration at the world right now. However, I would recommend you let him know that you're always going to be his friend, and hopefully, once he's in a place to see beyond the hurt, you can pick up your friendship. Hey, thanks for this. I think you've really hit the nail on the head here. He probably has always banked on it, so that's why he's mad and upset. He's actually a wonderful guy, and it makes me so sad that he feels so stuck in his situation. But I just can't be the one to pull him out anymore. Maybe with a bit of time it might be okay, because I just hate the idea that this could be friendship ending, because I love this boy, and I know it's mutual. You made a generous offer, 6 years ago? It wasn't an ironclad lifetime contract. It was okay for him to ask you if the offer was still open, but he shouldn't have assumed nothing had changed. Not the a-hole, I'm sure he isn't a bad person, but shouldn't have blown up when you said no. No a-holes here, but these are the times I hate this sub because the bar is so low. No, you aren't an a-hole, but you have the opportunity to change a close friend's life. None of those are good reasons why you can't, they are reasons why you don't want to. You should do better than not being an a-hole and be a really good human and let him come live with you. Thanks for your reply. None of those are good reasons why you can't, they are reasons why you don't want to. That's really accurate, I think, and has definitely given me something to think about. Well, kindness is crucified on this sub, so I'm sure I will be downvoted. I'm glad you saw it. I don't want to live with you is a valid reason. It doesn't matter if they can or can't make space for him. If you don't want to live with him, don't live with him. It's not your job to push your own wants and desires aside to accommodate someone who has willfully chosen to not improve their lot in life. Offers like that are not indefinite. People's life situations change. The fact that Bill has chosen to remain stagnant for years doesn't mean that the world stops turning. Definitely still offer him reasonable support and help. Maybe offer to help him look for new living arrangements. Or, if he's hard up for money, maybe see, only if you are genuinely comfortable with it, if you can float him a few dollars to help him land on his feet. But absolutely do not feel like you ought to feel bad for not letting him stay with you when he declined your offer for years. Update: Am I the a-hole for not letting my friend live in my spare room? I wasn't sure whether to post an update, but actually, this sub really helped me. However, judging by the responses I got, I am not sure whether anyone will like what happened. I first had a conversation with my girlfriend. We've only been together a year, and I'm buying the flat completely on my own. But there was certainly a suggestion that she might move in with me, depending on how things go in the next few months or so. She was, and generally is, pretty wonderful. And she's also met Bill, and knows what he means to me. She said if I wanted to offer him my spare room for a few months, then I should go for it. Then Bill. I won't go into too much detail, but I laid it all out for him. I basically said that I didn't want a roommate, and that now I was in a relationship, my privacy was even more important to me. I said that it was important Daisy, my goddaughter, also felt at home in my place, so the spare room was basically going to be hers. I then said that he was one of my closest friends, and I'd do anything for him if I could. I said that he could move in with me, rent-free, for 3 months, providing he got a job and saved up some money to rent a room somewhere after. We ironed out a few more details, but that was the general gist. It was really emotional. Bill kept apologizing, and we both cried, but it was a good conversation. I really appreciated all the responses to my post, but they did initially make me righteously angry, if that makes sense. Through my not the a-hole validation, I was kind of getting annoyed at Bill, thinking, what right did he have to my home, and how dare he be mad about an offer that I made 4 years ago? And then I read the above comment and suddenly thought, yeah, he's got no right to be mad at me, but if he really is one of my best friends, then surely I should help him if I can, and the fact is, I totally can. So there you go. Bill will be moving into my new place, and in the meantime, I'm going to help him rewrite his CV so he can start looking for jobs in my town. Maybe this is a bad decision, and this sub has certainly made me realize I don't owe him anything. But it still feels like the right thing to do. Thanks, Reddit. Edits? Holy crap, I did not expect so many replies and comments. Thank you to everyone who replied, and especially thanks to the lovely person who messaged offering support for Bill to write a cover letter. Just to clarify, I'm a girl, not a guy. I do appreciate the people wanting me not to do this, but my mind is made up and I really think it's the right decision. I understand it may not work out, but I believe in Bill and our friendship, and I know that he wouldn't do anything to intentionally hurt me. If I'm allowed, I'll write an update in 3 months. Not sure how the rules of updates work in this sub, and hopefully I can give you all good news. Wow, I'm so happy to hear this update. I really hope this ends up changing both your and Bill's lives for the better. I'm blown away by the response to the original comment and the awards, kind Redditors. Love everyone raising the bar together. This really made my night. Thanks. The more I read your comment, the more it stuck with me. It also helped that when I spoke to my girlfriend, she said a similar thing, although a bit more subtle than you did. Thank you for your words. OP states that it's important for their goddaughter to feel comfortable in the space as well. Will Bill be mindful of the space in this regard? How often does the goddaughter visit? That being said, if Bill is sincerely motivated to turn their life around, they will be back on their feet again in no time. All they need is a safe space to regroup. Be thankful you're in a position to give something meaningful to another person that you care about. A little kindness goes a long way. And OP says, hey, there's been so many comments that I've struggled to read them, but I just wanted to reply to this one so far, as it's the first one I've read that mentions Daisy, my goddaughter. So, she's only 7 and has never stayed at my place because I currently live in a shared house. But she's been asking for years for a sleepover, and I promised her when I had my own place that she could stay over. I'm gonna sit down with her when I next see her, which will probably be tomorrow, as I go over there every Wednesday and try to explain it to her. I'm also gonna tell her that when the room is free again, she can help decorate it. So I'm pretty sure that'll be enough to make her happy. This does mean I'll probably be painting the room purple, cause that's her favorite color. But sacrifices have to be made. Okay, and I think that's where we're going to end today's episode, guys. As always, I do hope you enjoyed it, and maybe even learned something from these stories. Just want to say a quick shout out to my Patreon subscribers and my channel members. You guys should be on the screen right now. If you do see yourself, I want you to give yourself a little pat on the back for being amazing and supporting me on this channel, this little journey we're going on the YouTubes. I really appreciate it, and you guys enabled me to do all this amazing work. So if you do see yourself, I love your face and I'm happy to see you. Also guys, if you want to pitch in your own support, you don't have to, but channel links are down in the description below to support the Patreon, the channel membership, whatever you want to do. It's kind of like tipping me if you feel like I'm doing a good job on this channel. I will be opening up avenues for content on those in the future. Just right now I'm kind of bogged down and stuck in Ireland, but you know, it is what it is. Anyway guys, with that said, I do hope you have a wonderful day today. Whatever you're up to, I'd love to know down in the comments below. I do hope you have a good day, night, sleep. Whatever you're up to today, tell me, and I'll see you in the next episode, guys. Bye.